Imagine a leader rising from chaos and turning a broken nation into a powerful force. A leader who promised pride, power, and victory. A leader who believed he could reshape the world. This was Adolf Hitler. In the early years of the war, everything seemed unstoppable. Germany moved fast with shocking speed. Armies marched across borders with confidence. Enemy nations fell quickly. The world watched in fear. The strategy of lightning war created confusion and destruction. Poland fell in weeks. France collapsed despite its strong military. Much of Europe came under German control. It seemed like nothing could stop this rise. But hidden beneath this success were dangerous flaws. Flaws that would grow with time. Mistakes that would slowly destroy everything. The first major problem was strategy. Hitler believed in his own judgment more than anyone else. He ignored advice from experienced generals. He made decisions based on pride rather than careful planning. At the beginning, his bold moves worked. But war is not a game of luck. It demands patience and long-term thinking. One of his biggest mistakes was fighting on too many fronts. Germany was already engaged in battles in the West. There were campaigns in Africa. And then came the most dangerous decision of all, the invasion of the Soviet Union. This operation was meant to destroy a massive nation quickly. Hitler believed the Soviet Union was weak. He thought it would collapse within months. This belief would prove to be a disaster. At first, the German army advanced rapidly. They captured land and took prisoners. Entire regions fell under their control. It seemed like victory was certain once again. But as they moved deeper into enemy territory, problems began to appear. Supply lines became longer and harder to manage. Fuel, food, and ammunition became limited. The soldiers were far from home, and support was stretched thin. Then came one of the most powerful enemies of all, the Russian winter. The cold was beyond anything the German army had faced. Temperatures dropped to extreme levels. Soldiers were not prepared for such conditions. They did not have proper clothing. Their equipment failed. Guns stopped working. Vehicles would not start. Men suffered from frostbite and hunger. Meanwhile, Soviet forces were prepared. They knew the land. They knew the weather. They used it to their advantage. The advance toward Moscow slowed down. Then it stopped. Then it turned into retreat. This was a major turning point. For the first time, the German army was pushed back. The idea of invincibility was broken. Another major reason for failure was underestimating enemies. Hitler believed in his ideology so strongly that it blinded him. He thought certain nations were inferior. He thought they would not resist effectively. This was a fatal error. The Soviet Union did not collapse. Instead, it grew stronger. Factories were moved deeper into the country. Production increased. More weapons, more tanks, more soldiers entered the fight. The United States also entered the war. This changed everything. The industrial power of the United States was enormous. Factories produced weapons at an incredible rate. Planes, tanks, ships, and supplies were created in huge numbers. Allied forces became stronger with each passing day. Germany could not match this level of production. Its resources were limited. Its industry was under attack. Allied bombing campaigns targeted factories and cities. Production was disrupted. Infrastructure was destroyed. Civilians suffered. Morale declined. Another critical moment came in the city of Stalingrad. This battle became one of the most brutal in history. German forces pushed into the city. Street by street fighting took place. Buildings were destroyed. Every corner became a battlefield. But Soviet forces refused to give up. They fought with determination. They used the ruins of the city to their advantage. Hitler ordered his troops to hold their position. Retreat was not allowed. This decision trapped the German army. Soviet forces surrounded them. Supplies could not reach them. Food ran out. Ammunition became scarce. The cold returned. Thousands of soldiers died. Those who survived were forced to surrender. This defeat was devastating. It marked the beginning of the end. From this point onward, Germany was mostly on the defensive. Another issue was leadership style. Hitler created a system based on fear. Generals were afraid to disagree. Decisions were not questioned. This led to repeated mistakes. Opportunities were missed. Resources were wasted. In North Africa, German forces initially succeeded, but they were eventually pushed back. Allied forces gained control of the region. In Western Europe, the Allies planned a massive invasion. This would become known as D-Day. Thousands of troops landed on the beaches. Germany was not fully prepared. Defenses were not strong enough. The Allies established a foothold. They moved inland. They began to liberate occupied territory. Germany was now being attacked from multiple directions. Another major problem was lack of resources. Oil was especially important. Without fuel, tanks could not move. Planes could not fly. Germany did not have enough oil. Supply routes were limited. Allied forces targeted these routes. This created serious shortages. Hitler placed hope in advanced weapons. He believed new technology would change the outcome. Weapons like rockets and jet aircraft were developed. They were impressive, but they came too late. They could not stop the overwhelming force of the Allies. As the war continued, Germany became weaker. Its army suffered heavy losses. Its cities were damaged by bombing. Its people were exhausted. Allied forces continued to advance. From the west, armies moved through France and into Germany. From the east, Soviet forces pushed forward with strength. The capital city became the final battleground. Fighting reached the streets. Buildings were destroyed. Civilians were caught in the chaos. The situation was hopeless. Yet Hitler refused to accept reality. He continued to issue orders. He believed victory was still possible. But the truth was clear. Germany was defeated. The war in Europe came to an end. So why did Hitler lose despite early success? The answer is clear. Strategic mistakes weakened the military. Fighting on multiple fronts stretched resources too thin. Ignoring expert advice led to poor decisions. The weather in Russia played a huge role. The harsh winter destroyed equipment and weakened soldiers. It stopped the advance and gave the enemy time to recover. Underestimating enemies was a critical error. The Soviet Union proved strong and resilient. The United States brought unmatched industrial power. The Allies worked together effectively. Leadership based on fear prevented honest discussion. Mistakes were repeated instead of corrected. Lack of resources limited the ability to continue fighting. Oil shortages affected every part of the military. Advanced weapons were not enough to change the outcome. They came too late and in limited numbers. All these factors combined to bring defeat. The early victories created confidence, but that confidence turned into overconfidence. Decisions became reckless. Plans became unrealistic. War requires more than strength. It requires strategy, patience, and understanding. Hitler failed to adapt. He failed to recognize the growing strength of his enemies. He failed to change his approach. This led to the collapse of everything he had built. The story serves as a powerful lesson. Early success does not guarantee final victory. Ignoring reality can lead to disaster. Underestimating others can be fatal. History shows that power without wisdom cannot last. And in the end, even the strongest forces can fall when they are built on flawed decisions. If you found this story powerful and insightful, then support this channel. Subscribe for more deep historical stories and untold truths. Like this video and share it with others who love history. Your support helps bring more content like this to life. Stay curious, keep learning, and be part of this growing journey. Thanks for watching.